It's so pathetic to see the rest of these access media, mass media outlets finally catch up to the talking points that independent creators have been banging the drum over for the past half decade when it comes to the MCU, calling out the filth that has just poured out of the MCU sludge pipe throughout all of Phase 4, all of Phase 5 so far, just going, this is really broken, okay? Things were probably breaking a little bit before that, but it really became overt and obvious with 4 and 5. But meanwhile, all of these other outlets, everything's fine, it's all great, you're just mad because there's a bunch of women, it's become more diverse, the MCU has always been insert whatever protected class they want to go ahead and use as a shield and push to the forefront. It's just never been for you bigots. But now that the rest of the trade magazines are finally saying that the MCU needs a retooling, it needs a little bit of a reboot, and then, oh yes, all of these access and mass media normie outlets are finally coming around going, guys, it's so perfect that they're finally course correcting that the MCU soft reset is coming right on time. Oh my god, we're so excited. The Fantastic Four's coming. Oh, you're gonna have Deadpool and Wolverine and the X-Men. Oh my god, they're reset now. They're finally focusing on bringing in characters that we love. Even though you go back and you look through the laundry list of reviews, Shang-Chi was an absolute triumph. The Eternals literally saved lives. That Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, it came out and everybody forgot about it, but it was so important because the first one, the original Black Panther, was the first time we ever seen black people on screen. Oh my god, what a triumph. What, all the way up to and including Thor, Love and Thunder? Was that about the time where everything started to shift, where it's like, oh, there's a problem here? And then with the undeniable flop that was Ant-Man and the Wasp and Quantumania last year, well, and things would obviously get worse from there. Now these outlets are starting to come around to this stuff. Wow, you should almost go back right to the Genesis when all of this stuff really was like, wow, we're actually unironically putting that stuff out. Go back to Black Widow. The first film of Phase 4, even though it was never supposed to be there, but that's where it is. Okay, back in 2021, it had the day and date release. Scarlett Johansson sued Disney that they ended up settling out of court because they, tried to rob her of her royalties. And with that Disney Plus and theatrical release at the same time, could go ahead and mask the fact that the MCU, might have been in a bit of a trouble. Might have been in a, precocious situation, so there's that. But then there was also that the film's abysmal. Mahler's got a 4-hour plus long breakdown on it. I've watched and listened to it a couple of different times, and that thing, it's broken 7 ways from Sunday. And one thing is having a Russian villain, the big bad guy, okay, have a bombastic Brit with just the most over-the-top Cockney accent, and you have him try to put on this thick Moscow accent, but whenever he gets too animated, then his alright, sauce pop out, it was abysmal casting. Like, he's got a good frame, he's got a good screen presence, but it was a terrible decision. And we also heard from one of the exited directors from this project as well that really cast the light on what Disney and the MCU were trying to do with these films and these projects going forward, was that they simply cast directors. They already have all the action scenes, they have everything else all worked out. They're just there to put a woman in charge of a female-led movie, a black chick in charge of a black-led movie. They just need to have the right people in the right place to make the posters look correct so that they can say, this is the first time we've ever had an X and a Y movie. This is the first time that we've ever had an all-insert-here cast. They don't care about putting something good on the screen. They just want to be the first. And it's attitude like this. It's the foregoing of telling a good story that leads to talented actors. Because Ray Winstone, he's a good actor, okay? He's good in the roles that he's cast in, except for when he's playing Dreykov. The guy that's in charge of the big sky fortress that trains a bunch of forcibly sterile female assassins. It's so stupid. It's absolutely stupid, the premise of this film. Almost as dumb as Black Widow. Well, it's a Black Widow program, but Scarlett Johansson banging her head off of the table just so she severs the olfactory nerve that she can't be indoctrinated with some pheromones. It's a dumb movie. It's a bad movie, and apparently it was bad for everyone involved because, yeah, we know Scarlett Johansson sued Disney over this, and Ray Winstone coming out saying that he threatened to quit the soul-destroying Marvel movie. It was like being kicked in the balls. Yo! Ray Winstone said that his experience on a Marvel film became so soul-destroying that he threatened to quit, not just the movie, but the entire industry. Joking. The British star is the latest actor to share his candid views on the comic book movie studio, following in the footsteps of Christian Bale and Anthony Hopkins. I heard Christian Bale, but I heard Anthony Hopkins glowingly talk about about the original Thor movie, which I unapologetically like. I think that it was good. I liked it back in the day, and now people are reappraising it as like, well, it's not as bad as the rest of the stuff. No, it's actually pretty good. Anyways, who spoke out against their experience after appearing in the Thor franchise. Yeah, the later dates. Oh yeah, when stupid Taika Waititi started to join the ongoing Thor story. I think I remember hearing that. Anyways, Winstone played the villain, yes, in 2021 film Black Widow, a prequel focused on Scarlett Johansson's character, yes, with little Florence Pugh, who's now going to be the main Black Widow. Ugh. Rachel Weisz, who's the actual villain in the story, and David Harbour, yes, playing, oh my god, a Russian Captain America. The Moscow Mule, I forget his name, it's not important. Going back to Winstone, he will next be in the Netflix series The Gentleman. That his initial experience on the film, directed by Kate Shortland, was fine, but said antipathy seeped in when it came to doing reshoots. A lot of reshoots. That's another big problem with the MCU. They don't plan anything out. You'd think if you have this big overconnected, or you try to push it as a big interconnected universe, you would actually, redraft and make sure that things are in continuity. No, just plan for weeks of reshoots. No wonder everything costs hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. As well as speaking to The Independent ahead of the release of a new Netflix series, The Gentleman, Winstone spoke to Radio Times about why he struggled with the Black Widow reshoots. You find out that a few producers have come down and your performance is too much, it's too strong, which is interesting. That was the feedback that he got when you just hear or watch some of the reviews from that film, and wow, he's quite over the top of that, but that was the toned down version? I guess if you wanted to go absolutely pants on head crazy, that could have actually been a redeeming feature of the film. That's the way that Marvel works, he added, saying it can be soul destroying and you feel as you feel like you're doing great work. He disliked the aspect of the shoot so much that he threatened to quit, but that he had no choice but to see it through due to contractual obligations. He actually said, you ought to recast it, because that was it for me, and you end up doing it again because you're contracted to do it. Otherwise, you'll end up in court. It's like being kicked in the balls. Bale previously described the green screen work required for his time on Thor Love and Thunder as monotony. Oh, interesting. I actually didn't hear that. He acknowledged that good people work on the films, but told GQ, can you differentiate one good day from the next? No, absolutely not. I have no idea what to do. I can't even differentiate one stage from the next. Oof. Meanwhile, Anthony Hopkins, yeah, I didn't hear about this. No acting required when he played Odin in the Thor franchise. Yeah, but he was very complimentary to the first big speech that he had in the original Thor film. But yeah, going forward, it just became a little bit less important afterwards. However, Angela Bassett, who achieved an Oscar nomination for her role in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, defended the studio for such criticism, saying she was sorry Hopkins felt that way. Yo, listen, okay, bitch, you don't need to be talking down to one of the greatest living actors, actually one of the greatest actors of all time. No, it's very important because my character was a black female, so of course I got front and center billing. Shut up. Winstone's latest comments came years after director Martin Scorsese. Yeah, I've talked about this recently, especially with the Denis Villeneuve. I don't like a dialogue in my films. I think that it's very dumb to have a dialogue. It's like, oh my god. I also think that it's stupid to give a French Canadian a camera, but you can't stop them now, can they? But yeah, Martin Scorsese saying that Marvel films are not cinema, they're more like roller coasters. And it's like, no, it's cinema. You just don't like it. You're just trying to use that as gatekeepy, arbitrary rulings for. It's basically a real pansy way of coming around and saying, I don't like this film, so it's not cinema. It is cinema. It's just bad cinema. And now we're starting to know why it's such bad cinema, because you have these tremendous actors like Christian Bale. You have Christian Bale in your movie, and it's regarded as one of the worst films in your entire 30-plus film franchise. You have Ray Winstone, a legendary character actor, comparing working on a project to being kicked in the balls. You wonder why they're such disposable fare, because the people that are there are just there to punch a time clock. They don't have any passion for these films, and that's why you can go ahead and champion this quote-unquote soft reset, this reboot as much as you want. If they aren't rebooting the people behind the camera, you could hire the best people, and you have, to produce something, but it's never going to change. You can go ahead and reboot until you're out of shoes. You're still going to end up with that same Marvel slop that has put you in the place where you need to soft reset to begin with. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.